Hey, welcome to another episode of the Philosophy Podcast. I am your host, Controversy, and to my right, ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, none other than Mr.
Darren Love!
And together, we are the Philosophy Podcast. Thank you to you guys for tuning in to a brand new episode. Thank you for tuning in once again this week, guys. And yeah, like we always say, what is on the agenda for this week, mate? What is today's
Hot topic. We'll talk about experience today.
Okay. Yeah. Experiences, yeah?
Yeah, you know, like,
So-
I mean, that was the experience, wasn't it?
That was kind of funny when you said it. So this week we're talking all about
Experiences, really, basically.
experiences. We've all had plenty of those, and
You know, I thought it'd be an interesting subject to talk about.
oh, definitely.
Very
'Cause they are.
interesting, I think. you
Yeah,
know.
I was gonna say between us, obviously between us, we've probably had our fair share of life experiences in general. You know,
I
between
think
us,
I
you know.
think I've had a few more because I'm a bit older.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But some people, like, even though they've not done anything, do you know what I mean? They might have been staying in bed all their life, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Done nothing, do you know what I mean? So
Mm.
life is all about experiences, I think.
Mm.
You know, I think, I mean, I've never climbed a mountain or anything, you know, but I can imagine in it in a kind of way, you know. So I feel that sometimes you don't have to experience things if you've got a good imagination in a funny way, you know. You can sort of like go to trips in your own dreams, in your own imagination, whatever, and try to sort of experience before you do it, if you see what I'm saying, you know.
Mm.
Test it out, you
Mm.
know. You know, it's like if you go for an interview, you can sort of dream it out a little bit, can't you, about how you're gonna, you know, go for that interview
Mm.
and how the experience is going to be before you do it,
Mm.
in a funny way.
Mhm.
You know?
Your plan of attack, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your strategy. You know. I'm a big believer in that, mate. I'm not going to go too much off topic, but I'm a big believer in that. You know, being prepared is so essential. You know, no matter what it is you're doing in life, or
I think you've got to think about it before you do it.
you have to think you got to pre as much as possible. Obviously, there's a lot of things you can't plan. You know, that's just life. That's just the way life works. But yeah, try to be as prepared as possible in every circumstance. You know, I'm a big believer in that. You know. Yeah.
You know, I'm not experienced everything in life, like for instance, you know, like going to the moon.
Mm.
But I can imagine it, you know, I wouldn't want to go to the moon, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, likewise.
You know, like there's no oxygen up there for one, there's no fish or no trees or nothing. You know, there's no clouds.
Mm.
Boring really, isn't it? All you got is the little earth to look at from a far distance, you know. And it's very cold there, or it can get very hot, with this, you know, like during the daytime. And during the night time it's cold, you know what I mean? No, I wouldn't want to go there. Be lonely there, you know, no people, nothing.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
so
strange.
you can, I think, like you can sort of like, if you're a bit of a good, you know, if you've got a good imagination, you can kind of like imagine it before you can, you know, dream about it before you actually even do it, you know.
Yeah.
And I say we've all had really sort of like different childhood and things, haven't we? You know, like different experiences in our past, whatever. And we can share our experiences together, you know, and we can learn from them, I think, a little bit, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Because even though, like you said, obviously you know, human beings, we all have, you know, we have differences, and you know, the reality is that a large majority of people across the planet have very similar shared experiences. You know, a lot of us grow up in similar households. A lot of people experience similar things. Obviously, some people experience some trauma more than others, depending on their upbringing and etc. Their own personal experiences, of course. But yeah, we're all quite similar in reality, really. You know, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to going to school, when it comes to education and relationships, and just being a person, just being, you know, just life in general, you know, all the things that we all have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, from, you know, from an early age right up until we become an adult, and then, you know, for the rest of our lives, you know, we all have shit that we all have to deal with, you know, we all have similar experiences, you know, we all might lose a loved one, we all might have a child, we all might get married, we might, you know, people might get divorced, people might have, you know, get their heart broken, get separated, but they're, you know, the first person they ever fell in love with, you know, might heartbreak. There's all sorts.
I think it's just different to every person.
And that's what it is. It's just.
Some people got all parents. You know, like their mum, they're very old. You know, some parents are really young. You know, do you know what I mean? You know, I just think it's just a real mixture out there of different cases of different people, you know, different circumstances, you know, we've all got different jobs in a funny way, you know, and, you know, some people are firemen, you know, some people this, some people that, you know, and we're kind of like experience different days, aren't we, in a kind of way, because we're kind of like so divided in a funny way, you know. So, I mean, I've had a number of jobs in my past, do you know what I mean? I've been in the building trade before, and I've just done different jobs, do you know what I mean? And you kind of experience different things, you know. And as I say, I've done removals too, you know, and that was kind of the experience. Even though the job was basically the same, alright, yeah. Lifting things, boxes or whatever from houses or big items, one to another house, do you know what I mean? You know, and that was basically it, but every day was a different experience, you know, because I was moving different people, for one.
Yeah, true.
Meeting different people.
Yeah.
The weather was a little bit different each day. The destination was different each day. Every day was different because they had different things in a funny way, you know, it was just a little bit different, you know what I mean?
I was going to say, you must have seen some stuff on your travels, mate. I can imagine you must have met some you must have met some characters.
Yeah, I can share some of these experiences.
Like,
I can share some of them, right?
I bet some funny and also some awful ones as well.
Yeah, once we went to do a removal, right? Anyway, I went to this lady's bed. She was a single lady and she's living on her own, right? Lifted her bed up and she had loads of vibrators on the bed. Can you imagine it?
I knew something like that was coming.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I mean, another time, when I was a bit younger, I used to do carpenter porcelain cleaning, okay? And we used to go to different houses, right, whatever, and I went to this lady's house, and she was an old lady, and I wasn't very experienced, you know, it's kind of like, I only just quite new to the job, do you know what I mean? But anyway, I went to this lady's house, and started cleaning around in her front room, and she had this, sort of one of those budgie cages that go up like that, and bend round, and it's got a cage like that, and anyway, it's, plastic bottom like this, whatever, you know. I don't know if you know, kind of like a
yeah, I know, yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
And I was sort of cleaning underneath it because it's really dirty underneath there when the burrow's been pooing in it.
Okay, yeah.
And the seeds going everywhere, you know. So I was underneath this bird's cage, you know, with my head bent over for at least 10 minutes. So long that I actually forgot that the bird cage was on top of me, alright? So I hid it on my head. It come on hooked, the bird come out, and it went through the window, because you've got to sort of open the windows when you're cleaning carpets, by the way.
Yeah.
So it just blew out the window.
Oh no.
So I had to go and explain to the old lady that, you just went
thrown away, I'm really sorry, but
Can you imagine it, you know, I mean,
she
that
must
was
have been
a very sort of hard experience for me in a kind of way, you know, but looking back, it's kind of funny.
It's funny, in a funny way, yeah. That old lady must have been upset.
Well, I freed the bird. The bird was happy.
Yeah.
You know, free. Birds don't like, you know, birds like being free, you know, they like flying around in the air, you know, they don't like being stuck in a cage all day, basically. So, you know, I did the bird the favour.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like 30 years ago, that experience, do you know what I mean? So I'm going back in time. You know, so I've had so many different experiences, it's, you know, I could be here all day to share in a funny way, you know. That's about it really, you know, like, really experiences are memories, aren't they, do you know what I mean? You know, we kind of like share our memories sometimes, you know, share our experiences or whatever, you know, and yeah, life's all about learning, I think, you know, and experience new things, I think, as well, you know. I mean, I know what I've done in the past, I think, you know, and it's up to me to try new things in the future.
Oh yeah. To make yeah.
You know.
Life's a bit boring otherwise, you know.
Well, I don't think I want to get married again. Do you know what I mean? And do all that, have a family again, you know.
No, but
I've experienced it.
But you've experienced it. You've been there, done that, you know. Yeah.
Even watch a movie, kind of like you learn from it and you experience something. I think. You know, sometimes you can do.
Yeah.
I don't think all the time, but sometimes you can learn something from what you watch.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah. There could be a good, like a good, some kind of like moral values or some kind of, you know, educational kind of lesson, or, you know, something in there that makes you think, gives you, you know, a different perspective on life, or so, you know.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. I mean, even what we're doing now is kind of we're experiencing life as we're going along, aren't we?
We are.
You know, and I think every moment is a new experience. Well, not necessarily new. I mean, it's like today. I stayed in today. Do you know what I mean? Because it was raining. But you know, I think staying in today was the right choice.
Yeah.
Because it's raining. You know, I think do things inside, and then when it's nice, I can go out. Do you know what I mean? If you see what I mean. You know, so. But what's your best experience in life?
I don't know. I don't know if there's one like particular thing I can kind of like pinpoint. I think I've had many great experiences in life. You know. I don't know if there's one. I think. I don't know. I've had a few, to be honest. You know, I've had a few, lots of different. I think it just depends on what time period of my life, if you see what I mean. In recent memory, let's say the last 10 years, I would say my kids, both my kids being born, and they, you know, but having my son was born when I was quite young. I was only 20, just you know, almost 21. And my daughter was born 5 years later. As I say, probably, yeah, both of my children, getting married.
It's all the experience.
I said when I released my first album, because obviously that's the first project, that's the only project I've released so far. But when I released my first album, after putting all those years and years of work into it, you know, doing everything from scratch, you know, all the music, all the literally
finished
everything, and then finally finishing it and putting it out to the world. Lots of I've had a few, you know, in the last 10 years. I don't even know what else. I'm sure there's quite a lot of other things in there that I can't recall at this present moment. But there's been quite a few in the last 10 years, I must say. You know, a monumental one for me was, well, as I say, I've been back now for, how long have I been back? I've been back for close to 13 years now, 12, 13 years. So as I said, that's probably one of the most monumental moments of my life, was leaving the Caribbean at age 20 after growing up there and spending pretty much all my life there from a very young child, and then coming back over here and then starting my life over in a sense, you know, having to restart. I literally had to kind of start again, literally the last year of me being in the Caribbean, it was literally, the goal was just saving all my money, you know, literally saving as much as I could every time I got paid, because it was literally, I knew I was coming back and I knew we were going to literally start over, you know, didn't know anyone, you know, first time actually living in the UK, really, apart from the first 2 years of when I was born, when I was literally, you know, a toddler, you know. So when I came back, literally it was starting again. I didn't know anyone, you know, I didn't know anything or anyone, or where I was really, or I knew where I was, but I didn't really know, you know. I never, yeah, obviously, all the surroundings, environment, everything was completely new to me, you know. New people, new kind of culture, new kind of everything, you know. So that was probably one of the most monumental, and then after that it would be meeting my wife, getting married, kids, my album, yeah, and a few others. I'm just talking about in the last 10 years, last 10 to 15 years, but yeah, yeah. What about yourself?
Well, like so I think because you know I'm not twice your age, but I'm nearly twice. You know, quite a bit older than you.
How's it gone?
Nearly 60 now. I am.
Yeah.
You know, and I was married for quite a long time in a kind of way. You know, in a relationship for a very long time, and we started up a family together. You know, so you know, and that was beautiful in a kind of way. You know, and I experienced sort of going to work and really put my heart to it all. Do you know what I mean? And working hard for the family, and I experienced losing it all. You know, and then actually you know, living somewhere completely different, do you know what I mean, because it just couldn't work out anymore, do you know what I mean, we couldn't be together anymore basically, do you know what I mean,
yeah.
And I had to sort of like really I took off for my children really, you know, because otherwise it was just getting worse and worse, do you know what I mean,
yeah,
you know, and it was just completely living somewhere completely new, do you know what I mean. I was living in a completely different town. You know, but one long before I met a very rich family. You know, a billionaire family, whatever. And I was very lucky to tell them my story, whatever, about my family. You know, just lost my family home. And they kindly gave me their keys to their beautiful boat in Canary Wharf.
yeah.
You know, and it was, it was you know, like a swan. Do you know what I mean? It was beautiful. And I was very lucky to get it, you know, and I lived there rent free for over a year and a quarter, something like that, do you know what I mean? And I took my children there for a few holidays, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But I just feel that I was very lucky getting this, do you know what I mean? And it was a very, very beautiful experience for me, do you know what I mean? Can you imagine it, alright, yeah? You know, you're kind of like confused because your wife don't love you anymore, do you know what I mean? You know, and she don't want you living with you anymore for any reason because she's met somebody else, whatever, you know. And you're kind of lost, really, because, you know, you love your children so much with your heart and everything. And they love you too. And you can't do nothing about it, really, you know. It's with your wife's heart, you know. And I'm not saying it's her fault, you know, I might have been working too hard, do you know what I mean? You know, life's all about mistakes, experiences, and, you know, I think we misunderstood each other. Do you know what I mean? We didn't have much communication going on, if you see what I mean, you know. Partly because she was completely deaf, do you know what I mean? Born deaf a little bit, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other different problems, you know, and we just couldn't live together anymore, you know. And so I had to sort of change from being the family man and the father that I wanted to be, from living away from my children, do you know what I mean? And that was very difficult for me, very difficult, very hard, you know. And
big transition.
well, yeah, you know, and it's been an incredible journey for me in a funny way, you know. It's still difficult today, you know, because I don't see him today, do you know what I mean? And that's after sort of like over 10 years ago we separated, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a phenomenal divorce, if you ask me. We had 13 court cases, you know, so it's terrible, if you ask me. But, you know, it's, you know, I've learned from it. It's over now. I'm glad about that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's all those court cases are gone. I don't have to go to court anymore, do you know what I mean? You know, it's
all in the
over,
past now, yeah.
You know, and those are very big experiences to me as well, you know, going to court. For my own children, do you know what I mean? It's just crazy, if you ask me. I think, hang on, what's going on here, you know?
Yeah.
You know, loving man, you know, I'm a loving man with a big heart, and I've got to go to court to see my children for some reason, do you know what I mean? You know, what's going on there? You know, that's why I get a bit confused about the modern world we're living in, basically, you know. And I don't think this just happens to me, I think it happens to many families.
A lot, yeah,
Oh,
many, yeah, many, yeah.
It's disgusting, I just, you know. So I think like the biggest regret is not having children, that was a beautiful experience for me. You know, I think this is one of the most beautiful experiences ever, really, having children of your own and seeing, you know, and you're actually the person kind of in not charge of them, but you're the one that's, you know, giving them the love or the support and the guidance, you know, and you kind of feel proud of that as they're getting bigger and bigger. You know, you pump, you know, that energy into them. You know, and I feel that's one of the most beautiful experiences, really, just sort of having children and being a father to them or a mother. Do you know what I mean? But it's been taken away from me. Do you know what I mean? And you know, it's sort of like my rights have been taken away from me.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've been stabbed in the back. I feel like I've been robbed. Yeah, but what can I do? Do you know what I mean? You know, it's and they get brainwashed, the children. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, we used to have a beautiful time together. You know, and it's kind of like it could be completely ruined. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, we had a beautiful family. You know, and I've got many photographs. Do you know what I mean? Of them. You know, I left my daughter when she was 6, and my son when I was 10. You know, they both wanted to come and live with me. You know, but I didn't have a house to put them up
For
in.
them
Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
You know, I just, you know, it was one of those situations that it was a nightmare living with my wife. You know what I mean? It was she made it a nightmare for me.
Yeah.
You know, and it happens to so many people. You know, not just me. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad, really, that you know I experienced it. You know, because I felt like we were happily married at one point. You know, she wouldn't have got married. You know what I mean? She asked me to get married. You know what I mean? You know, and even marriage itself is